Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertic and Chibi Bree are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Feather. I'm hijacking the intro from Vertic now. How are you guys all doing? We have our guest, Diggs. Hello, Diggs.
Hey.
And back to you.
And back to me. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is the 11th of February, 2022, and we have episode 111. And we have Diggs,
Yeah.
like she said. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm glad that I saw your shout out for guest.
Thank you, by the way.
We were just noticing
Super grateful.
It's been 2 years since I was on. Almost exactly 2 years.
Almost exactly.
Yeah.
Beginning of February in 2020.
And what a long / short 2 years it's been.
Yeah. Strange.
And of course, we have to have the usual play on words of our guest name. So we're digging into the character creator with Diggs.
Oh, that's an awesome topic, actually, because I have some hopes.
Oh, yeah. Definitely super excited to talk about that.
High hopes.
So, question for you. What have you been up to for the last 2 years since we last sat down?
So, the cool thing, I guess it was right before you guys moved. When did you guys move to where you are now?
We moved a few times in the last 2 years.
Yeah, August, September 2020.
Yeah. So right around that time, I was near you guys. So I had always wanted to, because I'm a old man, and the Cold War was going on when I was in high school, and I always said that I was going to spend the apocalypse with my best friend from high school. So when the pandemic hit and I got furloughed, like within a couple of weeks, I was like, I'm going to spend the apocalypse with my best friend from high school, which is what I did. So I spent 6 months with my best friend from high school and his wife. And that's right around your area. I'm going to be back there in about a month to visit my little brother for his birthday. So I might try and pop in and see you guys in person. Yeah, because you moved in August. I think I came back to Los Angeles in October. So there wasn't a lot of time for us to meet up. But you guys are so close to my home that I've got to actually try and see you in person.
Yeah,
it might still be socially distanced. Yeah, but I just got to at least wave. So it's been pretty good. What I'm doing now for my day job is configuring laptops so that people from my office can work from home, which feels really great to help people work from home during a pandemic. So it's been pretty fun. Still waiting for Ashes of Creation to play.
Right.
Thank you, D2 Phoenix Fire, by the way.
Yeah. Speaking of, looking forward to Alpha 2 eventually. But
when were you guys thinking Alpha 2 was going to hit? So a year, it's been 9 months ago?
No idea. I personally stopped putting dates on things because I would rather not have an expectation than put one there and then be like, well,
see, with me, I'm just always wrong. I'm just always wrong with the predictions. So if I say summer, it'll be fall. If I say fall, it'll probably be next spring.
Yeah, so as of last year, when Alpha 1 hit, when were you thinking Alpha 2 might hit?
I honestly left, I personally left that open. So.
Vertic, what were you thinking not a year ago, 9 months ago, 8 months ago?
Yeah, when Alpha 1 wrapped up, I was thinking it was going to end up being maybe this summer. It was going to kick off in the beginning of this summer. Okay. But now that they've done the switcheroo over to Unreal Engine 5, they're going to have some new bugs and kinks to work out and get things running smoothly on that train. But then again, the process is going to be a little bit quicker because multiple people can do all the things. So it might be by fall is my new thinking.
Okay.
We'll see.
I think it's not going to be quicker because Steven is usually wrong about how quick things will be. But yeah, so some cool stuff. We have other stuff that I think is going to cause delays. Like we haven't seen the orcs in game yet. Like we haven't seen them rendered. We just have, models for them, but we haven't actually seen them in game on the live streams, is what I'm saying. So, let alone Tolnar.
Yeah, they still haven't released any of that. I have a feeling it's probably going to be right before Alpha 2 goes when they're going to release Tolnar.
I'm just saying,
actual imagery.
That's going to be a while.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell. I just I hope it's not too much time. That's all I got my fingers crossed for. But hey, super quick question. I was curious: is Theory Forge, you guys planning on still doing stuff, or because I just thought like while we were talking with you, like I haven't seen you guys on in a bit.
Yeah, so Phantom is doing more with work, and his kids are older, so they're hitting, I don't know, what do I want to say? I'm guessing they're hitting like around 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, something like that. So he's doing more with soccer and stuff like that with the kids, I think. So he has less time. It may be that Legendary Neurotoxin and I will just have to do stuff, the two of us, if we want to do things on a regular basis. But, it's been kind of slow. There's not, tons to talk about anyway. So we're actually planning to do something on not this weekend because it's Valentine's Day weekend, and I'm sure he's going to be doing things with his wife, Phantom. So we're planning on something the following weekend, which I think is the 22nd or something like that. But because I want to talk about the character creator too. I think that was the impulse. Now that we have some images to talk about, not character creator, but the latest models. That's what I wanted to talk about. Not the character creator per se, but the latest models.
Yeah, we were going to mention a little bit of that today too. But I figured it was because of light content and whatnot. You guys were kind of taking the hiatus, like a lot of other content creators are doing. So I just figured I'd ask because I was curious.
We played a little bit of New World together. I have a 6-year-old friend in Denver who has just gotten to the point where he can play video games. So on the weekends he calls me. I think since September he's been calling me on the weekends to play video games. We were playing a game called Muck, but then in November I introduced him to Wizard 101, which is a MMORPG, and he loves it. So we've been playing that on the weekends. So I played New World with Neuro, and I don't know if you know the guys from Revival, but Ombwa, who works on New World, he does some of the quests for New World. So I played with him and the DOP crew, but lately I've been playing a lot of Wizard 101 with my 6-year-old friend from Denver.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's been it.
Sorry, give him a good experience. Hook him young. Gotta build a new MMO generation.
Yeah, and the cool thing is he comes up with all kinds of non-MMORPG stuff to do in the game, like play hide and seek. Hey, can we play hide and seek? And I'm like, okay, sure.
Even better.
Hey, when you can't go outside, the next best thing is to do a reality sim like MMORPGs. So.
Yeah. Yep. So
Next thing you know, we're going to be wearing our like VR stuff and doing all the MMOs. That'd be super cool. I think a new one just released, off topic completely, but I think a new VR MMO released recently, and it was kind of emulating Sword Art Online.
Oh. That's
that I remember hearing about that one. Yeah, I think it's still in development, but it's apparently they designed it specifically to emulate like a Sword Art Online type of environment. Yeah, Zenith.
Yeah, I think it was Zenith.
Yep. Zenith.
Need that full dive, exactly. We clearly didn't learn anything from anime. But so my question was, what thing with the content creator, or the not content creator, but the character creator coming up in Alpha 2 are you most excited for?
So not even so much for Alpha 2. I'm just hoping that it's available for launch. Now I'm forgetting the name of the, because it's UE5. They have this really cool character creator, human something. I should look it up, but it's like very realistic. So you can take like a photo of your face and put that in and use that as the base for your model. And I'm hoping that they get that level of fidelity. Since it's in UE5, maybe they can either pull some of that code out to make a proprietary version of it, or maybe they'll be able to use that feature themselves. It's much more robust even than BDO, so that's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, same. I know it's going to be a tough sell, but
MetaHuman creators,
a tough ask. But I think they're up for it. I think it's just also going to be, some people are going to have to temper their expectations. It may be better then, but it might not be exactly the same in some facets, and they may not be able to do a slider in the exact way they want to.
Well, again, if they can get some of the coding from MetaHuman Creator, then it won't even so much be about sliders so much. You might be able to like really import photos. You can also, the templates that you can start from are just really amazing. So it's like even very different than just having sliders. And one reason that I'm hoping for that is that I don't know, I want to be able to have African American or Asian or Polynesian Dunir, as well as Nakua. So, I mean, it's taken, 20-something years for me to make a character similar to myself in World of Warcraft. I was talking to a Korean guy at work, and he was saying the same thing. Yeah, like I wanted to make something that looked like me, but I can't make a human that looks like me in World of Warcraft. Whoops. I have to move. Hold on 1 second.
Okie dokie. Holding.
My light goes out if I don't move in here. I'll be right back.
Oh, is it like a motion sensing thing? Yep. Oh, goodness. But, yeah, the character creator, I think it's gonna be pretty solid. I mean, just seeing what they've done with the characters themselves, that they're gonna have some nice little levers to twiddle around with it yourself as well, because why make all those super nice textures and really solid looking character models without being able to really fully fit them to what you want?
But one of the big things will be what kind of sliders will you have for like height? Did you guys see the models for the Squashed Thumb Brigade?
Yeah.
They seem tiny, don't they?
In what sense? I mean, I just seen the ones that they put up for the cosmetics. But,
yeah, and something about with armor and the proportion of the legs, it seems like the legs are tiny, and therefore the rest of the body is is tiny. They just look like they're still tiny. So it looks like they've gotten wider, but not much taller.
You know what it probably is that was probably all done up as concept art a while ago, and they started trying to put together something for the month's cosmetics, and they just didn't really care to match it up to what the art team was doing for character models, like the new update or anything. And they're like, it's a gnome with a beard, cool, done. Here's a
no,
minor?
It doesn't look. It definitely looks like a dwarf because it's wider. So it definitely looks like the width of a dwarf, but the height, and that's what I was saying to Margaret even a few months ago. When they first showed off the new artwork, the first time we saw the new model in the live stream, I said, I'd like to see that in standing next to some of the other races. And she said, well, that'll be a couple of months. I go, oh, okay. But yeah, I want to see size comparisons because I have a feeling it's still tiny. I don't know if we're going to get the height that people have been wanting, but we'll see.
There'll be a fuzzy little section where the Tolnar is supposed to be. Just completely pixeled out. We'll put like four squares of color in there.
I'm hoping we'll get decent sliders so people get the height that they want on the various races. But how far can you go? That's another question. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that kind of ties in also while we're talking about specifically the character creator. The question from Intrepid on what customization options you'd want to see on the Renkai specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like it's interesting for me because the Vec is what I was planning to play, and that's not exactly looking the way I was expecting it to. It's much more alien. One of the things I was thinking, though, coming out of this last live stream and having looked at how different the Vec are, the Vec look almost more like trolls to me. I don't know that I would think of them as orcs if they hadn't said they were supposed to be orcs. So it almost feels to me like they should have just not used dwarf or elf or human at all. They just should have gone with Vec and Renkai and Nakua and Dunir, Valoon, and just they are what they are. Make them look however they want them to look, and then it might save them a lot of time. With I think people would still have wanted Dunir to be more robust, but I think it would save some time in trying to get people, why does that dwarf look like a halfling? Or, the devs saying, yeah, it's a more halfling-ish type dwarf. Just say it's a Nakua, and then who knows what a Nakua is supposed to look like.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. That would make life easy. I think he was trying. I think I see the spirit of the direction they were going with, just trying to give something that everyone already has a picture in mind and saying it's kind of like one of those, just so they can somewhat imagine. But then things happen like with the Vec, where most people I heard would say, hey, that's not exactly what I was expecting at all. Mm-hmm. It's not quite in the ballpark what I was expecting. I mean, most people still enjoy it and still like the look of them. I mean, I love them. I was expecting something troll-like.
Orc-like? Or
troll-like.
You were expecting something troll-like.
Yeah, because in my mind I was thinking, okay, so if Renkai diverged and had a cousin that was more based on astrology and less on war and battle, what would they look like? And I just immediately thought of maybe a troll. Yeah. It's either that or a goblin, but I think the goblin would be a little bit farther stretched just because they're teeny creatures.
I was just letting our audience know that I am not pregnant or pregante.
No,
I have a puppy,
pregante.
and that is our baby at the moment. At least here.
And that is plenty enough. Plenty enough to take care of at the moment.
You could have both.
She likes to pop in and ask me if I'm pregnant, because every time I go to say, "Hey, we have an announcement for you," she's like, "Pregnant?" I'm like, no,
right.
No.
We can have podcast announcements, not those. Puppy.
That's the typical question we have to ask people your age when you've been together for so long. Something in Western culture, especially. It could be all cultures. I don't know, but kind of ask that question. Yeah. So, but I like the look of the Vec, and I might have to change some of my expectations around the nose. I think I'm curious about where colors and the light and dark scheme can go for tones, but I think it's not what I would think of as an orc, but I can just think of it as a Vec and not care. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I could see that. I kind of like how he's going and how his design was for the different races to be from one root race, I guess, that kind of diverged and split out into their own physical and cultural differences. Because, that's what happens. You take a bunch of people and you keep them together for a while, and then you separate them and they start to develop their own habits, right? Away from the group. They keep some things similar, but a lot of other things tend to diverge out in their own direction.
Especially when they're on a completely different planet than what they started on.
Yeah.
Who knows what crazy environments were on Sanctus. So...
I love Ashes and Air being upset about the pancake booty. It is a puppy. Hold on, let me make it higher. There we go.
Okay, so we need butts. We need booty sliders. Okay.
We do.
Want to say something? Go ahead, say something. No, you're done. Okay.
We should make I should make a forum post about booty sliders.
Right.
See where that goes, but okay.
All right. So, did you have anything else you wanted to cover specifically? Actually, you know what? Did you end up saying about the Renkai? Anything like specifically you'd like to see the Renkai have for option sliders? Because I know we were talking about a bunch of the different racers in Vec, especially, but
I not necessarily. Again, for Renkai, maybe I would just want to see what. Where we could go if we're using something like MetaHuman Creator as our templates to start from. But so far, just what we've seen so far seems okay. I look at that and I think orc, so sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I think the only slider I need a tooth slider. Because if I ever do play a Renkai, he's going to be a massive house-sized land shark, just ready to eat anything in his way and demolish things.
Yeah. All right.
So I need a tooth slider. They need
Sounds
to be
like you need a jaw slider too. Yeah, jaw slider.
See? Need to be able to have it so it can dislocate and just... Maybe not that far.
I'm curious to see what the differences will be in terms of wilderness relationships between the Pyre and the Pyre, the Nakua, and the Renkai, I guess, because they seem kind of leafy. I don't know, all of them in different ways. So I'm curious to see how they'll embrace that wilderness or type aesthetic differently.
Karthos says he wants knee sliders. Loves some thick knees.
I hadn't even
and
thought about
Wizzy just wants
that.
beard sliders for all the races for the ladies.
Knee sliders.
I can draw one on. I'd have a small one though.
Okay.
Little bitty beard.
Why not?
Yeah, a little goatee. I'll just match Vertex. It's a little goatee.
There you go. I'll doodle it on you. I've shaved mine enough. I know how to shape it.
So what other so wait, so character creator, what were you guys hoping for the character creator? And you said specifically for Alpha 2, so what are you hoping for with Alpha 2?
Well, it was just in general being able to test it, because that's what I believe they're announcing at the end of the month is the character creator thing.
Okay.
Cricket designer.
Yeah. Yeah, right. No, Michaelis, no.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah. I think that's about all the things I have to bring up about character creator until they start actually showing the thing itself. But then there's gonna be a whole lot more to talk about. As long as they give us something to play with before the game launches, before they're gonna have it in a really deep format and ready for Alpha 2, then I want to be able to play with it before Alpha 2 as well. Just because it would be fun. It would be something to fill the time, so people would not notice another month go by waiting for Alpha 2 to launch.
Well, my main purpose for bringing up the character creator is actually Vladis, who we just had on a few months ago, made a video about creating the next gen character creator and comparing it to BDO. And that's why I was asking more specifically, what are you hoping to look for and see in the character creator? And at one point they had mentioned, I guess, releasing a form of it between time period A and time period B for people just to be able to have as a standalone. So more specifically, compared to other character creators that you've dealt with, what are you hoping to see? I mean, quality-wise, in terms of graphics, they're already there. I saw the screenshots of a few of their characters that they have, like the newest Renkai. I sent that to Vertec, actually. And the quality in terms of like depth and like realistic looking is just already there. But so what else are you going to be looking for?
Well, so one, for me, I kind of was spoiled in 2014 by how close to myself I was able to get with the Landmark character creator. I wasn't expecting that. So going forward, I always want to have the ability to make a character that looks recognizably me for Diggs in the game, so that I have a Diggs character running around that people will recognize from the podcast that I'm on.
Nice. Okay, and that's why you mentioned the UE5 feature. Okay, exactly. Gotcha. Okay.
And so it would be great if I could just import a picture of myself and start there from the template, which I've seen with the MetaHuman creator. And so then, again, also, if I could do something similar, start with something that's similar to my face and then tweak it for parameters in the other, some of the other races, like for Vec. Does it have to have brown skin? No, but maybe I would want it to have, I don't know if I would do that with Vec now, with the type of noses that they have, but I still might start with my nose and see what, how tweaking that makes it, what do I look like as a Vec, even within the color tones, the skin tones, the eye options, something like that. But yeah, if I could start with myself as the template and then see how that fits within the restrictions of each race, I mean, that would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just going to say, that sounds like it would be actually a lot of fun to sit there and play with. Just try it out on all the different races and tweak it out from there. I dig it.
Yeah.
I'm roasting myself, sorry.
But another character creator that I really liked was the one in Baldur's Gate. The latest version of Baldur's Gate was a lot of fun. In that game, I had a few characters kind of with African American features, and I can't tell you how rewarding it was to make a party of 3 or 4 all African Americans with all African American characters. That was really cool. Even though one was a dwarf and one was a what's the demon race? I'm forgetting the name of. But to have an elf, African American elf, because I've never been able to do that before.
That would be really cool. Actually, I want to see that myself.
It's funny
you think of
which things take the longest to actually be crafted and put into a game sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But even I was thinking, like I was looking at the winners of the male figure skating for the Olympics, and it's 3 Asian males. It's like, that's like really cool to be at a place where the winners and even the gold medalist for the U.S. is Asian. I was like, that's awesome. Look at where we've come. So I want more of that in the games that I play. So more representation. So
I hear that. Yeah, it's what I was saying. Some of the things that take a while to get into a game, kind of surprising once in a while. Mm-hmm. And Carthos just broke TV. I think it's hilarious.
Vertically challenged. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, I'm only 4'10". It got so bad that we both started riding motorcycles, and I had to get, because I got his 400, and I had to get mine lowered, and mine's lowered as far down as they will go to make sure to perform safely, and I can still barely touch the ground at all.
With 1 foot.
With 1 foot.
Has to be leaning to one side. Can't even put both feet down.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Okay, so super excited about this question. Unless Vertec had one.
I see you highlighting. I had stuff. One, but you sound super excited about something.
No.
You even said wait. Super excited.
I can wait.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say this one was somewhat more of a serious kind of topic-ish, sort of, but not really. And that's about I guess the name's pronounced Meow. The cat person, I think. Systemic conflict of interest, GMs. And basically the conversation on the forums is going along the lines of, hey, the GMs that are going to be in-game, they're going to be paid so they can literally just spend all of their work hours on the game doing things for the game. Getting to know the people, and they're supposed to, kind of make friends with people and, get to know the player base, get to be around them and for them to know you. And at the same time, supposed to, in a way, police them. At least moderate what's going on. Like, hey, there's something going on. Let me go into ghost mode and step over there and check out the situation. And Mao seems to believe, I'm assuming through past experiences, that there may end up being some bias. And there might be like the in-group that gets to know the GMs and banning cheaters, etc. Yeah, they're supposed to be all over the place. Exactly, they're grumpy, but Mass seems to have the idea that they're going to be the in crowds that are going to get favor, and some out crowds that are not. And there's going to be like the suck up crowd that are going to be doing everything and always fanboying over the GMs and stuff like that. But what before I give my input, what do you think about that, sir? Have you bumped into anything like that before, or do you think that would happen in the case of something like an actual paid GM?
So, I am a casual, non-competitive person, and especially player of RPGs. And for RPGs, when I think of playing RPGs, I think of cooperative play, not competitive play. So I would like to be a GM. I've not been a GM ever, but I've always wanted to be. And when I think about being a GM, it is in terms of having an avatar who kind of bringing an NPC to life to interact with other players and to help with events. And although policing is a task of GM, that's not really what I'm thinking about when I think about GMs and why I want to have GMs in a game. So when I read this post, I've basically been staying out of it because it's different vision than what I have of what a GM is. But when I read through it just now, I was thinking it reminds me of when I was interacting with my godchild. And I started interacting with her since she was 2. As she started turning 3 and 4, she calls me by my first name. And my mother said, but she needs to call you Mr. last name. She should be calling you Mr. Diggs. And I was like, why? I mean, I don't call her by her last name. I call her by her first name. Equality. She should just call me by my first name. But how are you going to discipline her? I'm like, well, I'm the adult, so I have the ability to discipline. Hopefully I won't have to do too much of that. But when I do have to do it, I have the tools to do it. So I will just do it. It's not going to matter what she calls me. And that's the way it turned out. I didn't have to discipline her a lot. One, because I'm her friend. And she's a pretty good kid. And when I need her to do something, I explain why I need her to do it. That's kind of the way I would hope GMing is going. That, yeah, we're interacting with the community, befriending them to a certain extent. And if I say, hey, if I'm a GM and I say, hey, what you're doing is an exploit, don't do that, I would hope that people would be like, oh, I didn't realize it was an exploit. Okay. And then if they have to ban you or discipline you, then we'll do that. It's kind of like moderation in general. I get moderated sometimes on the forums, and I thank the person for moderating me when they do so. And I say, hey, okay, I'll try and pull back. And I think what I said was justified, but if you think I should pull back some, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. Thank you for bringing it up.
There you go.
I appreciate you for doing your job. I think that's the kinds of relationships we want with moderators and GMs in general, right? I mean...
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, to be honest, like everything you just said there really does kind of define policing. You're just making sure that everyone's kind of following the rules. Like the tactics used is the thing in question, I think, where people would kind of differ on how it needs to go. But I agree with you in the fact that they should be communicating with people, and that's part of getting to know everybody, is being able to walk up and say, hey, Johnny Rocket, you know, you're a cool cat and all, but what you're doing right there is not a cool thing. You need to chill that. Don't do that. And then if Johnny Rocket does the same thing again, then okay, well, you obviously can't listen to the cues that I'm giving you. Like, you got to go, or you got to, take a week off and think about whatever you did.
Yeah.
Go outside and breathe some air and see what normal people do, and then come back and do the same normal people stuff with normal people in a game.
Go get a taste for the IRL graphics.
All right.
I was gonna say, I remember looking up to, this is way back before I was, an adult, but as a kid, because my dad is the reason why I became a software engineer inadvertently. Because we were playing World of Warcraft, and that was the way my dad and I bonded. So I played a lot of World of Warcraft growing up. But basically he was like, hey, you know how if you do /dance, that's coding. they make the character dance like that. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'd love to do that. And so I ended up going down this little thing of wanting to learn how to do coding just because I thought it was really, really cool. And I never like put 2 and 2 together. It was just like, oh, randomly you can make your character dance. That's awesome. But once it clicked, I was like, that's really awesome. And then I was 17 or 18 and I was talking to a GM because I think I'd lost an item from World of Warcraft. Something had happened and I just lost an item. And they were on the phone with me and I was asking them if they had any intern, and like the guy that was the GM, he was very kind and he was like, yeah, no problem, we'll take care of you, we'll get that figured out for you. And he was talking about like working for Blizzard. Now this is like 2012, 2013, but he seemed to enjoy it. And then I kind of went to college for that and found out that it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies as it sounded like. So I actually divoted and went to a web development instead. But having a GM, a good GM experience can also kind of help make or break the game, because if the GM was bad, it's like having bad customer service, right? If you have a company who you're trying to get a hold of and you can't find any way of getting a hold of them, you're going to be less and less likely to try to go with that company because you can't get the support that you need, or you can't figure out how to get the support that you need. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that it's a big responsibility, and I'm sure it's draining given the plethora of stupidity that can happen on the internet. But being able to have somebody who can keep those positive attitudes despite having what can seem like some days as a thankless job, I think that's why I really love being a part of the people that reach out and like, hey, can we make a video for Intrepid, and letting them know like how much we like their game, or for the GMs or whatever. And I think Vertec and I were wanting to do a GM appreciation stream at some point and get some of the GMs on and chat with them and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it can really change everything. And having somebody that has that kind of approach is a really good person to have, because it's like with the little one that we go and visit with family. She doesn't have to call me mom if she doesn't want to, but she chooses to. That's on her. I'm not going to force her to call me anything. And I think the Mr. and Mrs. thing is a old mindset. Mm-hmm. And not that that's bad, but mm-hmm. there are places like the Eastern cultures where like you do use a specific naming convention to talk mm-hmm. to your elders as a sign of respect. Mm-hmm. But I think in America, we've kind of lost that as a requirement to show respect. You can show respect in other ways, because mm-hmm. I can call you Mr. Diggs all I want, but if I'm not actually being respectful, I'm not truly showing you the respect.
Exactly.
So.
Yep. And that's kind of one thing that I was going to say, like, immediately came to mind when I was reading the original post, and somebody else mentioned it in there about how it's basically like a customer service type job. And in the same way you would expect going into a store that, the customer service person is going to take care of you the same way they would take care of the next person, so on and so forth, you would expect the same kind of discipline in how they treat people from one person to the next in-game as well. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think it'll be great to have in-game GMs because they can do the fun things that don't really happen in a lot of the big games anymore. They can literally have like, hey, when's the last time you heard of a game having a GM event?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, it just doesn't really happen anymore. And when it does, it's very rare, and it's usually the smaller games that are trying to actually have fun with their players and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So.
Trivia.
In this game, it's going to be very fascinating because, one, how do you do that server per server? And how do you do that node by node? I don't even know how you assign GMs, multiple servers, or will it be one GM per server? And then, how do you just based on human nature, and because there's some kind of favoritism that Mao is saying might pop up, and obviously you're going to kind of gravitate towards those people you have more fun with, or maybe those people that are on most often, so you have the most contact with them. It just seems that it's going to be a fascinating thing to see how they work through that. And but I love already just the interactions that we have just during Alpha 1, during the sieges, and when we'd see devs that we know pop up, and they'd be talking to us as we're preparing to start a siege, or we're in the siege and we see them on their dragons as they're trying to take pictures and all that stuff. All that stuff is just awesome in any case. I don't know.
The random being teleported.
Hey, come over here. Okay, we'll follow you. I mean, all that stuff is just kind of fun.
Everybody dismount. Ports immediately.
So.
No, we actually, we're pretty bad at submitting videos, so yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. We are always early and always perfectly done.
Yeah. Definitely record with the audio the first time around.
I'm trying to think of something else I can make up to also. I mean, not make up. Remember. That's the word. Remember, not make up. Totally not inventing things.
So, speaking about cool and interesting things, what do you think about dark fantasy elements within Ashes of Creation, such as things like Diablo, Warhammer, Berserk, stuff like that?
So be a little bit more specific. What are you thinking of as dark fantasy elements? Like, give me some examples, like specific examples.
I'm going off of somebody else's post.
Okay.
So they have, it was more so asking if there's going to be fantasy or dark horror stuff.
So
they gave those examples.
I'm kind of wondering. So when I think about dark fantasy and Ashes of Creation, I have questions about this as well, and some of it is, one, I don't necessarily like the concept of dark and light, with dark being horror. So darkness doesn't necessarily have to be the representative of horror. And an interesting aspect of that to me is that it seems like, based on the names of darkness. Let me see what this looks like on screen. I'm not going to get up for now.
Here, I'll see if I can find a light to put on you.
Yeah, and I might have something. Nope. Okay, so when I think about the names that are associated with the classes for rogues, a lot of them have shadow in them. So I'm wondering if there's going to be, like we have, I think we're going to have holy magic. I think we will have some kind of wild magic. I think we're going to have shadow as a magic type. That might be the kind of darkness elements that we go into. But also, I'm wondering if we will be able to get into, for necromancy or shamans, or can we get into voodoo? And is that, well, I'm thinking of the concept of evil. So will those horror things necessarily be evil? I think Ashes is not really supposed to have good versus evil, but there is this twisted element.
Don't they have the good and evil gods?
But they aren't really using good and evil. So there are these three gods that are twisted, right?
Okay. And so corruption. I guess we would add it as a corrupted fantasy.
Yeah. And so what will that mean? Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to.
Well, so part of it is like, so I'm thinking necromancy could still be good as it is with, from the voodoo perspective of Africans, that is good. Undead can be good from the voodooan perspective. It's not necessarily twisted or corrupted. So how is that different? So yeah, I'm hoping we delve into some of that stuff. I'm hoping that necromancy can be good, but that will have this twisted, corrupted element that will move into the horror aspects of it, maybe. And what will that look like?
Yeah, and I'm curious, what kind of story elements they might come up with down the line to explain the gods or just entities in general that maybe made a choice to go a direction and before the corruption took them over. It won't necessarily be like a choice to go evil so much as they thought it was a valid reason to do something and they thought they were doing right. And things just got out of control, started snowballing. But I really want to see how all this stuff plays out.
Me too. Cartha says, it's not good versus evil, isn't it? Corruption versus not corrupt. Yes, that's a good point. Sorry, go ahead.
That's the way I was originally thinking of it, but Stephen, back in maybe 2019, 2020, started talking about things, how things can be twisted, and I think he might have even used the term dark. Like there's a dark path, there's a twisted path that people can take. And I think these three gods he views as twisted and dark. But I would hope that it is corrupt versus not corrupt.
What do you think of, for like Halloween time, some corrupted, twisted quest lines? You know?
So what Halloween triggered for me was my and I got this from EverQuest Next. EverQuest Next had this concept of heroic movement, and what I was hoping to get from EverQuest Next was villainous movement. So when you started mentioning Halloween, and I'm thinking of the words twisted and what we could do for Quest Pass, I just see these twisted. I'm thinking twisted undead, but limping towards us. What a great event! Now that we can have these monsters attacking our homes, that's what I want to see during Halloween. I guess is like hordes of undead limping their way towards our nodes.
Yeah, wandering on them.
Well, I had an idea. What about like, let's say we have a big raid and there's like this well-known boss that's in the area and corruption gets to them as a natural element. Let's say the big raid boss is like, I don't know, a giant bear, and the corruption gets to the bear and the bear is now corrupted and you have to fight the corrupted version of this bear, which is a lot harder. That's what I was thinking. Be kind of interesting.
So, Vertic, I'm going to let you weigh in because I have something, but I want to hear you first. With the corrupted bear.
All right, one more time. Give me a scenario.
Sure. Sorry, my brain is on. I do a different thing where I like to play druid, so my brain is on druid things with corruption and stuff like that. So let's say there's a raid boss that's a well-known like world boss in the area, and the event is like corruption getting to the raid boss and corrupting it and making it more difficult to fight, but also act a little differently because it's now corrupted extra. So like maybe before the bear was just trying to defend its territory, but now it's a corrupted bear, especially.
Okay, so I had you repeat that because I wanted to make sure I had the scenario down exactly, because it was reminding me of a fight and I can't remember what game, but it was something similar to that. Like you had to keep them out of the thing because it would do worse stuff, and you ended up like running all around the place like crazy. And I actually really enjoy that kind of fight because it was unpredictable, and it was, you had a purpose, you had a job, the tank had to do something active, which was amazing because usually the tanks are like standing here just staring at boss knees.
Tank and spank.
Doing things. I mean, no matter how complicated my keyboard is to interact with to do all the things I need to do, it's still not very exciting. I just see a giant boss thing in my face, just that's it, that's all I get to see. But in a fight like that, from a tank point of view, I would absolutely love it because you gotta, you know, there's an artificial enrage type timer because you have this thing coming to get at them, and the more it gets to them, the worse it's going to be for you. So you have to avoid this, and you have to hope that all your other people are doing well. And then, you know, if you got to keep them out of the corruption, then that means it's, again, from a tank point of view, that means I got to keep them out of that stuff so that I don't die, so my people can do better. But if I move too much, they don't have time to kill it because they're too busy running, so I got to time it out just right. But I enjoy fights that have that kind of environment interaction.
So sorry. I'm a Care Bear. So when I think of fighting a bear that is known, that all of a sudden has become corrupted, I want to figure out how to remove the corruption from the bear rather than kill it. In D&D, we might be able to do this. In MMORPGs, we usually have to resolve things by killing the bosses. And I think we should have more
wasn't there that one in there's definitely that one in World of Warcraft where you clicked, right? I liked that, where you had to like fight them down to a low health just so that they wouldn't like kill you. They'd be too weak to like fight, but then you could heal them back up and like cure them. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
As a healer, I would feel good as a healer because that made me feel good as like a healer until I got in there with my overpowered hunter with the bandages and was just like, I'm gonna bandage you up.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that would be really awesome because I there's all these fights that are geared around DPS and like obviously like tanks pulling them out, and like there's heal checks for healers, but there's never like any enjoyable content where the healer is helping with the fight in that manner.
That's
and
right.
I think that was really unique, and that's why it still stands out to this day.
Yeah, and so that would be really cool if there were some battles, some group battles that were focused more on the bard and cleric doing heals to the boss rather than everything being killing the boss. And then I have to wonder how you could do similar things. So the spotlight would be on the summoner, or the spotlight would be on the fighter differently. So maybe it's not even killing, but you know, these other things, or mage. The spotlight is on the mage to do something to resolve the issue that isn't necessarily killing. I would love for those opportunities to be there.
Yeah, and those fights are always memorable because it's something different and something that's not the, you know, find the best way to slay this whatever. But it was funny with the Kickstarter packages. One of the benefits was work with the dev team to create an event for the game. And my brain totally went like from 0 to 100 in a second, and I was like trying to craft this like world boss type battle event thing, and then later down the line they're like, yeah, you know, something like a little in-game holiday or something like that. Oh, okay. So we're supposed to invent like a postman's day or something like that. Okay. Let me scale back what I'm thinking of here.
Right. I had a cute idea for Father's Day, but I don't know if it would work anymore.
sure it would. I'm sure it would. There's plenty of stuff going on with the game. They can come up with a little reason for anything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Michaelis, that's actually a really good point. It would be cool if you could kill the corrupted or cure the corrupted, and that would give you, like, that choice gives its own set of side quests.
Exactly, yes.
That'd be really interesting.
Like if a world boss came around.
Mm-hmm.
And you only had, say, like 3 interactions with it. Like, yeah, what if there was a world boss that came out with certain circumstances, and you had 3 chances to interact with it because it kept becoming corrupted, or you'd go to slay it and it would actually escape somehow. But like every time you interacted with it and you took an action, something happened there in the world in the local area, so you kind of got an idea on what was going to happen at the 3rd interaction. And the 3rd interaction is last, and that's the one that's going to have some staying impacts upon the area. That'd be neat. And sorry, you were going to say something, but my brain exploded.
Me? No, I don't remember.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm reading chat. I almost want to like interact with chat a little bit. By the way, I just, in case this wasn't said earlier, thank you, Leverage, for the resub. We appreciate that. But no, I was just giggling because Wizzy's like, Carthos obtains friends from Stockholm Syndrome, talking about like beating his friends in submission. And then kill them back. But
do it.
I made a joke earlier because you always like, that's my dad when we're like talking about things. So
yeah, I saw you with that's my mom.
Yeah.
The dwarf.
Kind of hot. Got a kind of hot mom. I don't know. Are dwarves taller than shorter than 4'10"? Can they be 4'10"? Because I'm 4'10". Maybe I'm a half dwarf. Who knows?
You halfling.
Halfling. I ask people if they like chicken. If they like chicken, we can be considered becoming friends. I like that one. Know what you like. Right. The ways to a heart is through the mouth and the tummy. Good food makes good friends.
Hey, at least you have a solid litmus test there.
Yeah. I was trying to think of how the words were coming out to make sure they didn't come out wrong. Is there anything else you guys wanted to chat about? It is already 8. I'm not sure if we're trying to end here or keep going. Either way, I am battling an ad, so I need to know so I can either let it play or push it back.
Yeah, see if you can kick it back, because I know food is starting to call my name.
Yeah.
And by starting, I mean it has been.
Twice, so there's only one more 5-minute one. Actually, no, it's in progress, so I can't snooze it. Whoops.
Oh no.
I missed
Enjoy the commercial.
Sorry about the commercial, guys. Really hate them, but there's no way to really turn them off unless there's always a pre-roll, and that sucks too. Can't win, I tell you.
Yeah, they got to get the money. They got to make the money. Yeah. But actually, I can't tell if it's running myself right now.
Oh.
I'm logged into my account.
Yeah, it's if you're on the dashboard, creator dashboard, it has the ad in progress thing on the side. I put it there. Thank you, Michaelis, for putting the ads out there. It's already like 30 seconds left anyway, but
Okay.
I had already pushed it back once, but I guess I missed the chance to push it back again.
Hey, these things happen. But could always wait for them to come back to talk about stuff and things.
Yeah.
So we got that.
Hold for everybody else.
Yes.
I don't see one subscription win. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, as a subscriber, you guys don't see them. So we're just going to fill this little bit of time that we have left with thanking you guys for subscribing and saying we appreciate your support. And we have emotes on the way, which includes new sub badges. Yay! And we're back. Stupid ads. Really hate them.
And everyone returns to more sub badges.
Yes.
All right. Stank needs to pick those up.
Nice.
I dig it. So, I know one thing I did want to mention. Yeah, I digs it.
Sorry.
But The one thing I wanted to mention, in case anybody else is a fan of the stuff, is Grantor. Grantor's returning with some more stories. So, yay. Let's see. Let me put that link out there.
Also, the
Right
new
now it says
cosmetics,
coming
we
soon.
feel like we need to get it. Yes, coming soon. Ouch.
Yeah. So that post right there will remove the coming soon when they do actually get finished.
I have a quick question for you guys. Have you guys been watching The Legend of Vox Machina?
I have not been able to start that yet. But I definitely have plans to, because I've seen parts of campaign 1 and I have a general idea of the story. My friends have love and hate relationships with it so far due to like the storytelling style, not the art, but the way they tell the story and in what order.
So it's a problem with the adaptation part of it. It sounds like.
Yeah. Sorry, the firefoxes are so adorable.
The fox kids.
Yeah, they popped on screen and I died.
They are very cute. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it because it's a it's very much like D&D. You can recognize some of the spells. You can recognize the classes.
Okay.
And I think I've seen a few of the original material that it's coming from, but just watching it as a D&D show, it's like just a lot of fun.
Yeah, things like that get me super into D&D. They're like, when I watched anime, I preferred things like, I mean, is it wrong to hit on girls in a dungeon? That one time I reincarnated as a slime, just like different MMO subgenre animes. But I always was like, oh, I want to do that. That's so cool. And that's why I like D&D.
Woot woot. And yeah, real quick, Michaelis mentioned WildStar's Nexus Forever project. Yeah. People are doing private servers of WildStar now. I'm happy. And just to give you a heads up there, Wizzy. Yes, it does. Apparently, the Nexus Forever thing, you actually host your own world. And you use that source code in order to be able to improve it, because right now it's all like people are scraping it together piece by piece here and there, and there's multiple people doing small little bits of development on it and pushing it out there. So every once in a while you'll see a post where someone says, hey, I spun up a world, here you go, come check it out. And then it'll be down a couple months later when they go to do something with it, or even a couple weeks later, who knows. But yeah, you could totally open up your own world and go out there and run around at will. Install it on a big old beastie PC.
But one of the new cosmetics we feel has to be our tavern, definitely.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up on here so people can see it if they haven't already, because they need to see it, because they're going to see it. And by going to see it, I mean it's going to be the Golden Feather Tavern.
He sent that to me and I was like, yes.
Must have.
Must have it.
That is everything here.
Oh, no problem, Lizzie. I hit on girls in a dungeon. The girl that lives in my house is whacking me in the back of the head. I'm going with, no, it's not okay. Why do I imagine like a female barbarian or tank character just trying to hit on people in the dungeon? Like, hey, you need some protection? I got you covered.
Yeah, right?
Big ol' sword.
Alright, so here we go. The cosmetics for this month. Boop, boop, boop. Wouldn't it? If I actually switched it over, right?
I don't know.
Blink.
Possibly.
Okay.
I'm delayed anyway.
The Quittin' Time Mead Hall. That's going to be a Golden Feather Tavern in the game. It's going to be.
Yeah.
Because whenever we see like the the guild houses and the pubs and tavern looking buildings. We always pick those up so we can cycle through them and have different seasonal taverns.
The ugly goat dog is growing on me. Have you seen that, Diggs?
Sorry, I'm reading the forums. What'd you say?
Have you seen the goat dog mount thing?
Yeah, because it seems like a goat man dog. Yeah, it seems like a lot of things. I do kind of want to
dog.
Yeah,
brand.
I kind of want to zoom in on the face. It feels weird to me because well, I'm saying it's a face. The head of it kind of reminds me of a person, and I almost feel like I'm somehow riding a person too. It's a little weird.
It's almost like the that monster creature. I forget its name from the Labyrinth. Sarah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. But I almost kind of want one. I'm waiting until a couple weeks to see if I actually want to get one. But the caravan seems really cool.
Yeah.
And
fire.
I like the bird.
Hawk. Rock
Ludo.
Hawk,
Yeah, that was it. Ludo.
Oh, I could see it. Ludo. Yeah. I guess those are stones. It looks tiny for me, so like they look like embers and not stone. Oh, that's cool. Is that bracer a mug? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's got a little mug gemstone on it. Let me see
That's
if I can zoom this in a little bit here.
Oh no, it's all good. It's just most people probably have us full screen. I don't have us full screen, so I can have access to mod things. So it's probably fine for everybody else though.
We have a zoomed in bird.
Super zoomed in.
But yeah, those are little gemstones, firestones. But yeah, the gauntlet piece there, the bracer, it's a little tankard-shaped gemstone, and then the armor that they have for the Thumb Smash crew, or was it? Is that what it was? The Thumb something crew.
Brigade.
Smash Thumb Brigade.
Smash Thumb.
That was it.
Interesting.
It's the same thing on their chest.
Huh.
It's kind of a common theme with all this stuff.
Thumb Brigade.
And then the caravan that Diggs was talking about.
That's pretty cool looking.
Got a pair of the
like a little pop-up
bear
shop.
ram things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like a little pop-up shop, doesn't it? You could just climb right up on top and start auctioning off whatever you're carrying.
All right, come on, give me your armor. Let me heal. Let me repair them.
Yeah. Which I guess maybe, unless one of you had other questions, we could leave off with that one last question about the auctions.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So there was a post on the forums talking about a real auction system, and I'm using quotey fingers because not real as in using real money to auction stuff, but real as in the middle of a node there could be a stage that players could jump up on and auction off their wares, rather than the typical auction house people are used to seeing in games where you just put it up and you put it up for a price
like
and
an
somebody
actual,
buys it, they buy it.
Going once, going twice, sold, the highest bidder.
Yeah, people actually bid on it rather than it's you either choose to sell it or you put it up there. Either way, you put it up for a price and people pay that price or they don't pay that price at the end. So it's more like a standard trade situation rather than an auction house. But what would you say your take would be on that there, Diggs? Do you think that would be a beneficial system to have an actual auction system where you need to go to a town square for a live auction to be able to buy stuff? Do you think that would be good as a sole system or as an additional system or neither?
there are several reasons why I think I would not take advantage of that. Several. So one, I abhor player economy because gamers are greedy. Usually when I go to any kind of auction house that players have put stuff up for, I think, why would I pay that amount of money for that? No. I would much rather deal with an NPC and just pay whatever the NPC wants for it. I think with an auction where I have to actually wait for people to be there for an auction, I don't think I have the patience for that. So I don't think I would do a real auction. I'd rather just find a person in my node who I like to trade with and trade with that person. That's really the vision that I have for Ashes of Creation, is we know where people live and we'll be able to go to their homes in real time. Why wouldn't I just do that? Just find the people who are on the same time that I am. I know what they have at their freehold. Or we could agree on a time for us to meet. The other thing, I'm a Care Bear. I'm a casual player. This is kind of coming from my interactions with Landmark. I don't necessarily care about the money. So, it's stuff like, hey, if you will make this for me, I'll go out and gather a whole bunch of resources. I might gather extra resources for you. Let's barter. I don't know that I'm really up for any kind of auctioning stuff and, trying to make as much money as I can and in the game because of our capitalistic views. I'm a socialist, and I used to say communist, but meaning just trade stuff. I'll just, here, you want this? I'll give it to you. I mean, I just don't really care about the money aspects of it. Yeah.
A barterist. Yeah. I have this. And you need it, you have that, and I need it. Take it.
Yeah. Or just, hey, maybe you need it and I like you. Go ahead, you can use it. I'm not using it. Go for it.
So is it awkward, by the way, that while you were saying that, I'd rather just, trade with people, like, I know where they live, I'll just go to their house. And I heard it in like the Godfather voice, like you're gonna knock on their door and say, hey, I got an offer you can't refuse here.
Exactly.
I just heard that in a New York accent. Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
I got an offer you can't refuse here. I don't know. But, okay, side question. Wizzy said if someone's modeling that piece and she can see it, she'd be more likely to buy it. So my favorite thing to do when buying stuff in World of Warcraft was being able to like see it on my character, to see how I liked it on my character specifically and not just the armor piece. What do you think about that feature?
Yeah.
Well, also, I guess to add to it, to add another layer of complexity to it, what if it were, instead of having to go up and wait for people to show up, what if it was a monthly event in the node, like a monthly event in level 6 Metropolis specifically, where at a certain time of the day for like 2 days in a row or something, like a late night and then an early morning, or vice versa, an early morning and then a late night on the same day. That way there's always a scheduled time it's going to happen. Morning is for this type of stuff and evening is for that type of stuff, or what have you. So you don't necessarily have to wait, you just have to show up at the time of the event.
So that has me thinking about the trade events we had in Landmark. I think we called them a bazaar, and people would show us, the stuff that they had created. Sometimes they'd share their templates with us. So when I think of what you just said, an event, I think of that as more as a social event, And again, I'm not really even thinking of what we're buying. So again, maybe I would hope that we'd be bartering there too. So not even so much like an auction event, but literally a trade event where maybe auction is one of the options and bartering is one of the options. And it's really just more of a social event for us to gather and trade. And then there's several different ways that we could trade. I really do, I have to think about this idea of modeling, because it's true. I might like the way a piece of armor looks on a Pyre, but not like the way it looks on a Nakua. Right? So even as we're trying to acquire these items that we want to wear, yeah, I would almost want to see them modeled so that I make sure that I would like it on me versus like it on someone else. That's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, and see, my well, actually, Chibi, what do you think? Actually, since I asked the question, I'll wait till last to put up my.
Well, I mean, I asked this question, but in regards to your question that you asked, I think a live auction thing in general would be interesting. Making it a specific time would be kind of nice, because then you can rely on when to do it, and maybe people can actually submit like what they want to auction off. Like when you go to a car auction, for example, they submitted all of those cars and they have the private seller and they have a price that they would like to meet, and then everybody just kind of gathers and they go through the bidding. I think that would be really cool, because then you know what time it's taking place and for how long. And you know, it could be one of those things where it's a Saturday and I have nothing better to do, and while I'm playing D&D at night with my friends, I'm hanging out in this auction waiting for this thing to be available, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it, so able to play but not be actively playing while also still doing other stuff, like Sunday at 6 p.m. server time, live auction. Exactly. But then also like what people do when they do the crafting streams, where they have the crafting thing going, but then they're probably doing other stuff as well while their character is just sitting there crafting. Like you're being productive in multiple states. So yeah, that's my opinion.
So kind of what you were saying, and also something Ashes of Nearer mentioned, kind of fall right along the spectrum of what I was thinking would actually make for a decent, live action auction system. For one would be starting with Ashes of Nearer's thing. The highlight of it would be, or could be, I should say, because this is just us making up stuff at this point. The big, super awesome legendary items. Imagine if they could not be traded on the auction house, or some of the more amazing stuff out there could not be traded on the auction house. It could only be traded person to person. That's the only way you can sell it. That's it. So why would you want to talk to one person and get one number and say, yeah, that sounds about right? Why wouldn't you want to show that off and say, all right, I have this, it's on hand, it's right here, check it out, the Sword of Awesome, and have a live bidding war on that? Like, that would be a pretty cool little spectacle, because it's going to be a whole bunch of junk. It's going to be a whole lot of just, hey, I have 900 piles of strawberry colored linen. Does anybody need that? I need some bricks. I'll trade you my linens for your bricks. And it's going to be a whole lot of that stuff. It's going to be a whole lot of crafters just trying to unload a pile of stuff that they created just to level their skill. But there's going to be the occasional, like, whoa, did you see what's on auction today? How great is that? Like, you could register throughout the month to sell whatever at the auction. You have 12 hours before the auction to look through all the things that are going to be sold, and then put in, say, an absentee bid. Like, this is how much money I'm willing to spend. And you walk away, and then when bidding time comes around, say, hey, we have an absentee bid of this much, so that's where bidding's going to start. Does anybody want to spend more? And then the price could go up from there. So it would cut down a lot of the waste of time too, because then you wouldn't need to start really low. You just start at the highest absentee bid.
You're adorable, Karthos.
Because can't buy my love on the auction house. with pizza.
I would barter for that.
I mean,
I will trade you my time for your love.
I'll do these things for you if you'll love me and keep me around for life. But
anyone who wants to sell, can put one up on auction, and then the server votes for that.
Yeah, I think that there's something interesting about that when I'm thinking of kind of part of me wants to say legendary items, but part of me wants to say it might not even be legendary. But we have this example of a winter dragon world boss that we have to defeat because we'll have an eternal winter for as long as the winter dragon is alive. And then I'm assuming that we get for defeating that world boss, we get specific resources or availability to certain resources. And so maybe there's items that crafters have made that they want to put up for auction, that those of us who weren't around during that time period when the winter dragon was active, maybe those will seem legendary or rare enough that we want to spend lots for that. So that could even be interesting. Again, I don't know if I don't really care about bidding against it. I'm non-competitive, so I don't really want to compete for the numbers for that. But just the concept of there being stuff like that people might want to attain is kind of interesting to think about.
One last sidebar. Can you imagine? Because let's say it's the middle of summer or spring and somebody just missed winter and winter's not coming back for like another month or so. But like, because they just missed winter and they just got back, there might be winter things that they need to get, and it's going to be a whole many weeks before they get those mats, or they're going to have to travel for it, right? So then you have people that want to fight the dragon to get rid of winter for the cool things that happen as a unique and legendary thing, and the people that are like, no, I want the winter mats that I missed. Like, interesting.
Yeah, I definitely do wonder about how we might have rival quests. Some of that comes when I think about the different religions possibly conflicting with each other as they're vying for them. Maybe they need to have a certain number of shrines or temples up. So I think there's going to be some conflict there. But yeah, maybe some people would want winter to last longer than others.
Yeah.
How can we play with that? That would be a lot of fun. It would be nice if there's more than one way to form relationships with these world bosses.
If I do the winter dragon dance, will you come and make winter? Yes? Cool.
You can just nap the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly. I summon winter.
I also just thought of something that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Some of the real world events and holidays and such that they're going to kind of, in a way, mirror with their own versions of stuff in game, maybe would actually be pretty neat with what would they say, a 1 or 2 week cycling of the seasons. If it's a 1 week cycling of a season, 1 week in a season, if they put up decorations for like the big holidays for certain months, then there would be 4 weeks, like all 4 seasons would cycle on through, which would kind of cover like all 4 hemispheres of the tilt and rotation of the earth and how they experience that season, right?
I agree.
Well, there's lots of stuff there. I mean, hopefully Vera had, some cool things, because it's not just Vera. So Vera should have their own holidays. They should also have some holidays for Sanctus.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then just my hopes with having real world holidays reflected in the game is I hope it's not just Western and US holidays. You know, we tend to have things like 4th of July, but you know, I would like Lunar New Year, definitely Hanukkah. Yeah. If you're gonna have Christmas, honestly, also have Hanukkah.
Bring them all in some way, shape, or form, and that's why I think it's going to be really neat. Yeah, it'll be really neat to have Vera and Sanctus's versions of, you know, Earth's holidays, because then you can combine multiple holidays, combine multiple traditions into one type of thing that's kind of harmonious between them, kind of strikes a good balance, right? But yet it's named something completely different, and it's going to have its own origin, but you can just see the traces of all the individual things that they built it up from. I think that's a great way to do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would like to see a Nightmare Before Christmas holiday event where somebody was trying to be kind and give out gifts, but then the gifts ended up having corruption. And now you have to go and like fix the gifts in some manner. Be it
boxed
healing
candies
or
from a tainted water source or something.
Yeah, holy water to purify it, something. That'd be cool.
There's always one house on the block like that, right?
Well, maybe, but maybe not, because Vera, if you're talking about, I guess it depends on if you're talking about old school Vera or new school Vera. Because the old Veran holidays are going to be one thing that kind of got taken and carried over during the time in Sanctus, and those are brought back, and unless the Tolnar chilled out with it and kept it going exactly and precisely like it always has been, like, which they probably won't, but if they did, you're gonna probably see a vast difference between the two. But yeah, it'd be interesting.
Okay, you know what? I'm stopping myself. I could go for hours. Never mind.
Okie dokie.
Boy, but yeah, I do believe it's getting hunger o'clock about a long time ago, so it's probably time to feed that beast. And by that beast, I mean my tummy. It is screaming. But, sir, friend, would you like to say anything to the everybody out there? Any parting words or things you'd like to plug?
Nah, I love you all. There's a good chance we might, that Theory Forge, the Ashen Forge, might be having a show not on the 14th, but the following weekend. But nope, other than that, love hanging out with you guys. Yeah, we have to have Alpha 2 start soon so we can play in-game again, like we did during Alpha 1. So, yep. That's it.
And I wish to make complaints. Well, usually we end up showing off the fan art on one week, and then there's nothing before the next week, and then the week after there's a bunch of stuff to show off, and we show it all off. We're terrible at rationing it. Terrible at rationing it.
Because we're like, oh, look at all this stuff that we found. Oh, look at all that stuff we found. I can't find anything else now. But
I would like to thank everybody out there. Thank you for showing up and hanging out and spending your time with us, spending your efforts typing words with us. It's much appreciated. Without you, there would be no us here doing anything, really. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start
thank you. Thank you again to Diggs for being very last minute. And we, a panicked TB was going, we need a guest, please, anybody help. So yeah, I'm very grateful that you were available so last minute. So
yeah, I'm happy I was available. It was wonderful.
I was like, I'm sorry, but I kind of need one tonight.
No need to apologize. It's been a while, so it was due. In any case.
Yeah, she's practically 2 years on the day. A little over 2 years at this point. It's been a while. So,
let's see.
Any luck on who to raid their server tech?
Honestly, I think I see a Simorg, but we raid him a bunch. We should probably try to spread the love out if we can. Unfortunately, it seems like everyone else is playing Lost Ark.
Yeah, that's what I only like. Everybody is playing Lost Ark for some reason.
I mean, that being said, I mean, Simorg isn't really playing or talking Ash's stuff anyways. I don't even know what he's playing. I think he changed up from playing or talking Ashes and now he's doing a community night. Okay,
Ew,
so
never, no.
hanging out with peoples at least. Amaranth, here we come. Ready, set, go.
Oh my gosh. Nope, I quit right here. Goodbye. I'm just gonna end the video call right here.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Eject.
I at least have I have control over the video call, so can't do it without me.
Sir, being our guest.
Yes.
Our other guest entertainment is in your hands. Should we go to a Simorg for looks like he's having a community night? An Ashes HQ community night? Or spread the love to someone else, like Yokai Theater is playing some Lost Ark.
Simorg, go to Simorg.
Oh, right. Sim it is. There was no delay there. Was that because of Lost Ark?
No, I just love Simorg.
Okay. We do too. And Simorg. Alright, getting the raid ready. Everybody, you have yourselves a dandy day, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you for being here.